And a little bit like Chris Rock, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, this country's learned a lot about race through comedy. What McBride does is he sneaks in there and makes an incredibly fun story.
Truth be told, I ain't seen a person murdered till I met you.
I would stay off that subject entirely.
The Good Lord Bird, at its absolute core, like on the surface value, yeah, it's about John Brown, and yeah, it's how the Civil War started, and blah, blah. But really, it's an old-fashioned love story between the two of us. We meet in the most horrible of ways. John Brown is coming in, he's trying to liberate slaves, and he accidentally gets Joshua's father killed, and I take him away. I thinking I'm rescuing him, he thinking he's kidnapped. And it's a fascinating dynamic. And slowly, through these crazy adventures that take them through slave insurrections, we meet everybody of prominence of that time, and we finally do the raid of Harper's Ferry together. And he's pretty much the last person I talked to.
Whatever he believed, he believed. Didn't matter if it was true or not. The old man was nuttier than a squirrel turd.
What our relationship goes through as human beings, it's amazing. And so I really wanted to do it because it would change a lot of people's perspectives on the way they think about slavery and how they think about John Brown as just being a crazy lunatic. And they can actually dive deeper into the reasons why he did those things.
How many are in his army?
Damn near 10, I guess.
10?
10.
You counted 10. That's not even a dozen.
Whenever you're talking about really painful things, there's a tendency to get very somber and start teaching about it, and nobody wants to hear. And the genius of McBride is he's talking about this country's greatest wound, and he does it with so much wit and love. When the book first came out, the first initial reviews, people were like, I don't think you should be allowed to do that. It took people a little while to realize that you could joke about such a thing. And a little bit like Chris Rock, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, this country's learned a lot about race through comedy, because sometimes people can't hear you, or they don't want to hear, or they're worried they're going to be made to feel guilty. They turn off and they can't hear. And what McBride does is he sneaks in there and makes an incredibly fun story.
Oh man, the cheese has slid all the way off your biscuit.
We're gonna start a revolution.
Everything about this show feels relevant to 2020. I'm so grateful. I feel like strangely blessed that we're coming out in an election year when people are bending their minds towards looking at the country. Because in the story of right now is where we came from. And there's a lot to learn from it, and there's a lot to learn about how we got here and why we're still here. One of the things that John Brown says is that until the country holds itself accountable and asks for forgiveness, will a real friendship arrive and we'll be able to move forward? If you're still stuck in stages of grief like denial, it's not going to move on. Things don't magically get better. With us not understanding our past, we often can't understand what's happening right now. And so I'm excited for people to see this.